So I want to start with kind of three key themes, and these are not things that are new to anyone, right? So improving efficiency, increasing effectiveness, and reducing the error rates of our users. And these are themes that could apply to, frankly, a lot of the conversations that we've had today. What's interesting about this is that there's a lot of attention paid to improving these things as a result of margin compression, regulatory costs, having fewer people on our trading floors, and we invest a ton of money into technology, theoretically, to accomplish these three goals. I think there's actually a strong argument that we've started to slide backwards on these goals because of the amount of technology that we're deploying to our users. So we'll talk a little bit about that theme and about where I think we've started to backslide and where we can make some improvements by tying those technologies together. The other reason that we're here today is not just those themes, but of course that Symphony is giving us an opportunity to do things a little bit differently. A lot of people look at Symphony as a chat network, and certainly chat is one of the use cases. But when I look at Symphony, and when we as a company look at Symphony, we see something quite different. So we see the largest B2B collaboration network that exists, frankly, with federated identity management, end-to-end encryption, a full audit and compliance trail, and bot infrastructure. Obviously, bots and workflow have been a big topic today. This creates some new opportunities for us to think about how do we actually streamline workflows and increase efficiency, effectiveness, and reduce error rates amongst our employees. There are a few little limitations that we'll talk about and some interesting opportunities to get past those limitations. Before I jump into that, I want to provide just a tiny bit of background on myself. So I'm Dan Schleifer. I'm the co-founder and CEO of ChartIQ. We're known for our namesake, charting. We also provide a smart desktop platform called Finsemble that we'll take a look at in just a couple of moments. We're actually headquartered in Charlottesville, Virginia, recently made famous as the home of Thomas Jefferson. Perhaps you saw that in the news. Also known as the fintech capital of Central Virginia. We also have offices in the more traditional hubs of New York, London, and Hong Kong. We service over 300 institutions around the world. These range from retail firms, so Yahoo Finance and E-Trade, through to institutional buy-side and sell-side clients, as well as the technology providers that you guys rely on, people like FactSet and Fidessa. We also have partnerships and integrations with a lot of the technology vendors that are here today and that you guys probably use day to day. So everybody from Symphony, iPushPoll, et cetera. So we're known for two things, like I said, our charting technology and Finsemble, our smart desktop platform. I want to talk a little bit about each of those and how we can tie those together through Symphony to do something that we weren't able to do with those technologies before. So as we go through and we look at these three themes, right, what do they come together as? They come together as how do we equip our users to make faster, better, more informed actions and decisions, whether that's trading or otherwise, and what are the headwinds? What are the tools that can drive that action? So we'll take a look at Symphony as a network. We'll take a look at a bunch of fintech vendor applications, so the things that are on the trade show floor today, as well as in-house applications. When we work with our customers, you go to a sell-side bank or a buy-side firm, the majority of the applications that their users use are not being provided by fintech providers like myself or Symphony or the other people there on the trade show floor today. They're in-house applications. So how do we pull these tools together into something that will actually drive efficient and informed actions and decisions that pull together data and insight? Now, I talked about how we've been working on those things and investing in technology for a long time, but yet we're backsliding. So there's a study that was done last year that looked at almost 5 million users, 5 million hours of user activity, and analyzed that activity. These were all knowledge workers, right? It was all computer activity that was being tracked, and some amazing stats. So on average, people were using 90 different applications per month in their work environment. They were switching between applications 1,100 times per day. And I thought this was crazy, and I had to go and find the source material and double check it. And I realized that as I was doing that, I was switching back and forth between my email, the PowerPoint presentation I was working on, my Symphony chats, et cetera, and kind of multitasking and going back and forth. On average, they're copying and pasting between those applications over 130 times per day, again, contributing to that error rate. And the people that are actually using more than 30 applications per day have a 28% higher error rate. So what we know is we're delivering a ridiculous number of applications to our users. They're having to switch between them a lot of times. They're having to copy and paste between them to continue a workflow, and that the more they do that, the higher their error rate is. Now, on the surface, it's kind of obvious, but honestly, the investments that we're making in building new applications is contributing to this. There was another study that was done of 17,000 knowledge workers. Of those, they defined, I can't remember the term that they used, but basically the cream of the crop knowledge workers, aligned workers, were the people that knew what they were supposed to do and how that tied to the company's strategy. They were spending over 30 minutes per day switching between applications, resulting in 130 hours wasted per year, which on average, based on the sample size they were looking at, is $13,000 a year of inefficiency just in the amount of time that those users are spending switching context back and forth between applications. So we're creating some of our own problems. They're big, they're expensive, but we have some opportunities to solve them. So I want to jump into a live demonstration. This is being driven from 2 different laptops. On the left-hand side, you'll see Jessica. On the right-hand side, you'll see Rob. We have 2 different Symphony windows. A lot of the demos that you've seen today start with this kind of a theme. On the left-hand side, we can see Jessica interacting with the ChartIQ chart. Name of the company, you knew there were going to be charts involved. Our charts have been been available inside Symphony for quite a while. In fact, we were one of the first vendors in the Symphony market. What's new and what's different about the charts that she's interacting with right now is these are powered by real-time market data being delivered by FIS. We developed a partnership between Symphony, ChartIQ, and FIS to deliver real-time market data with full entitlements down to the end user available inside Symphony. Now, as Jessica goes through and customizes this chart the way that she wants it, when she's done, she can go ahead and click the little share button. And she can now share it across Symphony with just the click of a button, which, again, doesn't seem crazy. She'll add her little comment. But you would expect in most environments for that just to send a screenshot attached to that chat, right? The equivalent of doing the copy-paste operation that we were talking about before. Take a screenshot, paste it into your email, paste it into your chat. But what's cool about with Symphony is that when we send that, it shows up on the other side, and when she clicks on it on the other side, you'll see that it's actually going to launch a real-time chart powered by ChartIQ with FIS market data, hopefully appearing anytime soon. It wouldn't be a demo if there weren't occasionally a failure, which would show a live interactive real-time chart with the drawings and annotations on it. I don't know, Jessica, if you want to try that one more time, let's take it for another spin. Let's go ahead and just share that chart back. So the idea here is that we're actually not attaching an image of the chart, but we're attaching an object across that network that we can send and go ahead and share that real-time chart across the network. There we go. So now on the other side, she has not just a picture of the chart, but she can start to interact with it herself. And because of the market data connection provided by FIS, this chart is going to keep on ticking. So she now has her own copy of the chart, but it's still being supplied with a real-time market data feed. So now she can go in and actually add whatever drawings, annotations, indicators that she wants, do her own analysis, and then send it right back. So now she's going to go ahead and share her version of the chart. Now, as this happens, it's being recorded into the audit trail inside Symphony. So she'll send it back, add a comment, perhaps send a little follow-up comment. You'll see on the left-hand side that Rob has received it. And now she's adding a comment, hey, have you also checked out Apple today? So now she sends it over, and in fact, Rob can now pull up those 2 charts side by side and see his analysis versus hers with 2 real-time charts continuing to tick along with that real-time data. So we now have that seamless collaboration back and forth between these 2 people, all powered by the Symphony network and with real-time data, all in a compliant fashion, all with the audit trail required by regulation. Now, we're going to take a quick pause for just a second. So what we've been looking at right here has been within the confines of Symphony. So a conversation going back and forth between two people. And that's an extremely powerful thing. We're super excited about the FIS partnership and the Symphony partnership. But the reality is that whatever she needs to do next in that workflow probably exists, almost certainly exists, in another application on her desktop. That might be in the order management system, it might be in a risk system, it could be in an internal inventory tool, it could be in a third-party application. So what we need to do is figure out how can we now reduce the number of context switches, manual context switches, between where she's leaving off and where she's going to go into the next step of her process. And how do we reduce the error rates that result from all that copying and pasting? And this is where Finsemble, our smart desktop platform, comes in. So Jessica, if you can switch over to that. So now what you'll see here is that we're just going to look at the one screen. And so we've got everything happening in Symphony in the browser, but the reality is that Symphony is only one of the applications that make up her desktop. Now, in an actual real-world environment, you might have dozens of windows strewn across multiple monitors. For the case of simplicity, or the interest of simplicity, we're going to just show a few today. And down in the lower left-hand side of the screen, you can see a price blotter. This price blotter is provided by a fintech company called Adaptable. They're a partner of ours. They make an extremely powerful blotter technology. Here we've got a news feed. This news feed happens to be powered by Xignite, but again, whatever news application that you want to use. And then on the right-hand side, we've got Market Early Bird, who is downstairs and a Symphony partner as well, exhibiting here today, which is a compliant real-time Twitter feed to show what's going on in the markets. So we've now got a bunch of different applications on screen, some of them built in different technologies, one in a browser, 3 in desktop windows from, 5 different vendors in total. So we'll see that, there's the comment, have you checked out Apple today? And we've got that cache tag inside Symphony. So Jessica's gonna click on that cache tag, and you'll see the other applications that are on her screen automatically updating with that context. So with Finsemble as a smart desktop platform, we're actually taking the context of what's happening in the Symphony interaction, in that human interaction, and applying that context to the rest of the applications inside her environment. Those can be in-house, they can be third-party, they can be web-based, they can be built in native technologies like .NET and Java. And the idea here is that we can take all these applications that were built by different vendors. These vendors never sat down to talk to each other to build bilateral integrations. With Finsemble as an integration fabric, we can plug all of them in and build a smart desktop where they all interact. Now, I think we're gonna move back. I think, Jessica, that's the end of the demo. I think we're gonna move back to the slides and talk for just a couple of minutes. So, as you guys know, Symphony doesn't let us do recorded demos, which I think is both terrifying, right? You guys saw a little blip, but is also an important part of what happens at Symphony Innovate. That the technologies that we're showing you today are real, they're in production, they're live, they exist, it's not vaporware. So I want to go through and talk about what I just showed is available, and then talk about some of the innovations that we're actually in the process of rolling out to our customers inside and outside of the Symphony environment. So we saw the smart desktop. So we saw Finsemble, which is the ability to pull together a range of applications. So we've got a sampling, we've got several dozen vendors in the Finsemble ecosystem. We're just highlighting a few of them, notably some ones that are here today. So you've got a best-of-breed fintech ecosystem, you've got sophisticated workspace management, you've got patented application interoperability that supports the open standards being developed in FDC3. So we've taken a novel approach to application interoperability that allows us to build complex multi-step workflows, things a little bit more sophisticated than what I showed in kind of a simple demo today, but using open standards that we actively participate in. Now, the cool thing about this is that it's not just these kind of modern web applications, it's also your in-house applications, it's your legacy OMS, it's your legacy market data terminal, it's all of the tools and technologies that your users use today being pulled together, again, to increase efficiency, effectiveness, and reduce their error rates. Also available today is what I was showing, which are the market map live charts in the Symphony market. This is a 3-party collaboration, and I think a great thing to see across the world of fintech. This is us partnering with FIS as a market data who provides data from, I think it's 160 global trading venues across multiple asset classes, all delivered with real-time data and entitlements down to the end user using ChartIQ technology and delivered in Symphony today. So if you have users that actually want to be able to have powerful charting, but perhaps not the expense of a full market data terminal, you can deliver real-time market data to them with the ability to actually then send and interact and collaborate on what's happening in the market back and forth across the Symphony network. Now, a little bit about what's coming soon. I wanted to show off a couple of things that are coming out later this year. These are things that are built, but they're not in production and not commercially available yet. The first of these is the chart grid. So when we look at having real-time market data, and I could be wrong, somebody will correct me, but I believe this is the first time there's been real-time market data streaming into Symphony. You've got our charting, which is great when you're analyzing an individual security, but with the chart grid, you're able to actually see what's going on in the overall market. So this is real-time market monitoring that can be not only multiple instruments, but across multiple time frames, and with all of the charts linked together, so that when something as simple as dragging my cursor and my crosshairs across one chart, we'll do it across all of them. If I want to add analytics on top of any one of the charts, I can apply it to all of them. So the ability to start having these components inside Symphony, inside the workflow, contextual, and again, responding to the cache tags and other information that's happening in the chat. The next thing I wanted to talk about is actually a partner of ours called Trading Central. This is actually live and in production with other clients. It's not available yet inside our Symphony app, but will be soon. This is actually taking our interactive charts and layering in third-party analytics. And I wanted to show it for a couple of reasons. One is that this is 24-hour a day, 7 days a week, multi-asset class coverage with pattern recognition, educational content about what those different pattern means. Everything that you're seeing here, the channels and the patterns and the price targets and everything is all being done by algorithms, not drawn in by people. But it shows the kinds of things that you can start to layer in these interactive charts. And so when Jessica showed the example of perhaps adding an annotation, putting on Bollinger Bands, that's fine. But what you may want to do is be able to actually take the data that's coming out of your own teams, out of your order management system, and plotting your order data, go down and do trade reconstruction, to take data that's coming from your quant teams and overlay it into the charts, to take the knowledge and information that you have, and whether that's for your internal users or you're going to be delivering that across the street to your counterparties, to take those bits of information, actually visualize them in context of the chart. So that's all stuff that you can do. This package will be coming out as an add-on soon, but you can come up with your own custom visualizations and layer in your own custom data. So coming back around, right, what is the goal? Can we improve efficiency? Can we increase effectiveness? And can we reduce error rates? And I know I've been a broken record because I keep repeating these, but honestly, these are the three things that we're obsessed with. And so we've got a lot of tools. Arguably, we've got too many, right? We've been investing in building software for 20 years. If we can put them together in the right way, you'll see those better, faster, more informed decisions. And so I'm really excited to be partnered with Symphony and to be here showcasing some of this technology. The network that they're providing gives us a lot of capabilities, and some of the new developments from vendors like us with smart desktop technology to take the existing applications that we have and integrate them together in a more intelligent way. With that, I think we're going to do a few minutes of Q&A. So if you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand and bring those up.
Amazing. Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you.
Awesome. Please, there's mics around, so if you have any questions, please state your name and firm.
Come on, guys. Somebody has to be first.
And we can't see very well from here, so.
Oh, good.
Yeah, right there.
I see movement. There we go.
Hi, this is John from Wells Fargo. Can you use any other market data provider, or do you have to use FIS?
Yes, you can. So we're offering in partnership with FIS for people that don't have their own market data feeds and want to have an end-to-end solution where you just basically check the boxes for which markets you want, and they handle all the entitlements and exchange reporting. If you have your own market data feeds, you can absolutely connect them into our charts. Our customers, like I said, we have well over 300 customers around the world using our charting technology, and are generally connecting that to their own ticker plant and their own real-time market data feeds. And like I said, that can extend to just both core market data as well as trade and analytics data coming from other silos inside the organization and being kind of pulled together and mashed up on the fly. Any other questions? Okay. Well, on that note, thank you. Oh.
Spencer Minlin from IT Group. Just wondering, where do you see Finsemble's sweet spot here? Do you see a lot of clients looking to reskin and rebuild applications, or are a lot of new vendors coming to market and saying they don't want to reinvent the wheel? Where do you see really the low-hanging fruit for the company?
That's a great question. So with Finsemble, we're seeing success in front, middle, and back office, which is interesting. Starting as a charting vendor, we started in front office, right, where pre-trade analytics is. The use cases for Finsemble, when we think about efficiency, effectiveness, and reducing error rates, right, that's universally applicable and arguably even more important in things that are perceived as cost centers. So as far as the applicability cross-asset class and cross-function, including wealth management and other functional groups. With that said, as far as the applications that people load into it, because it's just a framework, it's about taking whatever investment they already have and getting more out of it. What we find is that you have a very fragmented environment. Some of our customers have hundreds of applications that they've loaded into Finsemble. It tends to be that over time they have a plan to get rid of legacy applications that maybe are built in dated technology and replace them with modern things. But the reality is that never happens all at once. And so the idea of Finsemble being able to pull all these things together is to be able to basically replace the house brick by brick while you're still living in it. And so I can take one component, swap it out with something new, but have the interoperability and the workflows continue unfazed, because in reality, your users don't care what technology their applications are built in. They just want them to work and ideally work together. Oh, we've got one more.
Hi, this is Maya McLean with Citi.
Hi.
You might have addressed my question in that last one, but I was going to ask, what are some of the hurdles that your clients have faced when it comes to implementing a smart desktop, given, especially with large banks that may have some modern technology, side by side next to legacy applications?
Yeah, well, it's a great question. So obviously the ability to blend together old and new is a core capability of Finsemble. So that tends to be one of the drivers. I think the difficulty that we see in adoption is very often, I think, the same that a lot of large sell-side banks, for instance, face, which is that it's organizational change management. And so people are really excited about the technology, and it's a matter of how do they identify specific use cases where they can deploy it, get traction, show success, and then deploy it further. And so I think as we look to work with customers, it's often how do we pick a few desks or a few use cases or a few workflows and really show success there. So it tends to be, the challenges I would say are more cultural, political, organizational than they are technological. We've solved a lot of the technology things. It's just about how to manage change. With that, we're running out of time.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for your time and attention and for the great questions. And I'll be in the back of the room if anybody wants to chat.
Great. Thanks, Dan.